Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another watch list. Basically, think of this as a monthly TV guide for me to let you know what and when TV shows that I'm interested in, that maybe you're interested in, are coming out. Like always, in the description down below, I'll include links to any trailers that might be available to anything that I bring up during this watch list. On January 1st on Netflix, we have a new series called Kaleidescope. It follows Giancarlo Esposito playing this character who runs a group of thieves. They kind of do like pretty big like bank heist and type of stuff. Well, maybe not specifically bank heists, but they're thieves that steal, obviously. And it's about going after that big score. Well, this particular big score involves going after the person who betrayed him years ago that he went to prison for. If I remember correctly, I think this also does involve like him trying to repair some familial situations, like maybe he has like a kid that he's trying to repair things with as well, I believe. So I mean, it seemed really interesting from the trailer, and I'm excited to check it out and see what all goes down in the series. On January 2nd on NBC, we have Quantum Leap returning, which I'm very excited about. Obviously, the last episode, I guess the winter finale of sorts, or fall finale, ended up kind of setting up what we believe to be Ben's main intention for leaping back. Obviously, I won't talk spoilers about what that was exactly, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see where all that goes, and obviously where the rest of the pieces to this puzzle kind of fit ultimately. There's still some stuff we haven't quite dealt with yet that I'm curious to see what ends up happening, and obviously where these future leaps end up taking Ben in the long run, what kind of wild adventures await him. On January 4th on ABC, we have Big Sky Season 3 returning, which I'm very excited about. Obviously, everyone was kind of found themselves in some complicated circumstances where the last episode ended off. I know Jenny, I think we're going to be diving more into stuff with her mom when the show comes back. Obviously, there's been some big revelations that now Cassie and the rest of the squad now knows about Sunny and her relationship to Walter, and obviously there's still the money situation, what that's all going to turn into. It's going to be exciting to see where the rest of the season ultimately ends up taking us. On January 8th on Crunchyroll, we have the premiere of Trails of Cold Steel Northern War, which I'm so excited about. I have seen something saying the 6th, but I do believe it is the 8th. But obviously, I'm so looking forward to this. I'm so excited. For one, getting to dive into the Northern War. Obviously, it's a part of Reen's story in Cold Steel 3, but to kind of get a deeper dive into it, as well as giving our opportunity to really kind of get the ins and outs of Northumbria, which we've heard so much about. We've gotten people from Northumbria, but we've never actually been there ourselves to kind of see that, like, they live that life with them. So to kind of get that Northumbrian perspective on the Northern War is going to be interesting, and obviously kind of filling in some gaps of what we know of the Northern War. As you know, I'm obsessed with Trails of Cold Steel, so getting an anime from it might not be the anime I was expecting, but I'm still excited regardless. On January 12th, we have Walker Season 3 returning, as well as Walker Independence. I don't remember exactly where we were. I remember the last episode of Walker was the Thanksgiving episode, and it ended with like Abby kind of in a situation, because the family's kind of, especially with everything between Cordell and Stella, they're not in a good place. So figuring that out, and obviously everything with August, like juggling all of that, plus like Abby, there's some family stuff we learned about Abby in the Thanksgiving episode, and I'm curious to see that kind of pop up, and that maybe there's more going on with the, what was that? God, that team that kidnapped Walker at the beginning of the season. I've still been saying for a long time I doubt that's over, and I do feel like we're pulling at some of those threads. Now, as for Independence, I don't remember quite where we left off. I do believe, oh, if I remember correctly, Abby was on top of standing over Tom, and he was like bleeding from his wound. And so she's kind of like, oh, what do I do? Do I just leave him to die or what? So, because obviously there's still so much she's finding out about Liam, her husband, that maybe there's a lot more going on there. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens when both of these shows return. I should specify also on the CW. I didn't bring that up earlier. On January 13th on Prime Video, we have the second and final season of Hunters, which I'm very excited about, because we hadn't heard anything about Hunters for so long, and for us to finally know, like, hey, we're getting the second season and it's going to be the final season. I definitely have to rewatch season 1 because it's been a while, but I remember the twist of season 1 end. And I know like that did not work for a lot of people. I enjoyed it, but I know it didn't work for everyone. So there are certain elements in the teaser trailer, because I don't think I've seen the official trailer, but there were certain elements I do remember seeing that I'm like, how are you going to handle that? Because I remember how it ended, where it's like, boom, big reveal, like at the like very end. That's definitely going to be interesting to see where the second season goes, like what all fully entails. We'll ultimately have to wait and see. Like I said, I do believe I only saw the teaser. I don't think I saw the full trailer, but regardless. Also, on January 13th on Showtime, we have the second and final season of Your Honor, which I'm so excited about, because initially I was surprised when news had came out that the show was getting a second season, because I thought it was going to be like a one and done, but there's still so much story left to tell. Like, there were so many other elements, threads that needed to be pulled on that we hadn't quite pulled on yet. And obviously with the stinger of the season finale of season 1, you're like, that's going to be an interesting aftermath to pick up from. I have not seen a frame of the season 2 trailer, and I'm probably going to try and do that as much of that as possible, try to avoid watching any of it, because I don't want to know what ultimately ends up happening. I want to go in knowing as little as possible. So I'm excited to ultimately see how this story wraps up. I can definitely see it not having a happy ending. I mean, already doesn't have a happy ending where things currently stand, but kind of in the aftermath of all that, it's going to be interesting to see. I think it's airing early on the 13th, but it officially doesn't air until the 15th, I believe. Like, officially on, like, this channel Showtime. On January 15th, on Paramount Plus, we have season 2 of Mayor of Kingstown, which I'm very excited about. I don't quite remember where we left off in Mayor of Kingstown. I've not seen the trailer for this, and because I need to rewatch season 1 to remember exactly where we were. I'm probably going to avoid the season 2 trailer. Also on January 15th on HBO, we have the premiere of The Last of Us, which I'm super excited about. I've only seen the teaser trailer. I avoided the official trailer just because I want to be I'm so interested to see like what this adaptation looks like what they kept the same, what they changed, what they've added, because I know there is going to be stuff they're going to add. But I'm so excited to see this in live action. I know some people have been apprehensive about, like, right, just because The Last of Us is such a cinematic game, they kind of already put like adapt that in live action just feels like a waste for some people. But I'm still excited to check it out, because I think the show, I think that series has its own kind of like with its characters, and yeah, it might not have like I think that series stands enough on its own that I'm sure there's plenty of people who've never played the game or don't even know the story of the game who can still latch on and appreciate that the gravitas and the heaviness, and just but not even just even the gravitas, like how personal that story is and how grounded it can be, like the Joel and Ellie relationship. So I'm excited to see what ends up happening. Just from the teaser trailer, I was like, oh man, this looks awesome. On January 23rd on TNT, we have season 1 of the Lazarus project. This ends up being kind of like, not necessarily like a full-blown time travel show, but essentially there's like a situation that's going on that I think is going to kind of wipe out humanity, and it's about kind of rewinding time over and over again to try and stop things from happening. The reason why I specified season 1, because the show already came out in, obviously in the UK, but now it's coming out here on TNT here in the States, sorry. So I'm very excited to check it out. On January 24th on the CW, we have the Winchesters returning, which I'm very excited about. Obviously, the last place we left off with the Winchesters, slight spoilers, but we do have Sam kind of rejoining the show. But obviously, we also still don't know all that the Creta are up to. It seems like we're creeping closer and closer to finding out what their whole plan is. Roxy's been taken off the board, but she's not the queen that the squad thought she was. So we'll see where things kind of go. I've kind of thrown out my theories about who I believe the queen of the Creta actually is, but we'll ultimately have to wait to see how that plays out. On January 26th on Paramount Plus, we have Teen Wolf the movie. Now, normally I don't, bring up too many movies during this. I typically keep it the TV show, but it's Teen Wolf the movie. I love and adore that show, so I'm excited to get some more of it. Obviously, I've only seen the teaser trailer, but it's just like, oh, some familiar faces are popping up. The core of what that story is going to be, we'll ultimately have to wait to see. I'm sure there's a lot more in the trailer that kind of explains everything, but, catching up with Scott and the squad and finding out what they've been up to since the series ended, I'm so excited to be back in this world again. But also on that same date, also on Paramount Plus, we get a new series called Wolfpack. I initially heard that this show was kind of supposed to be still taking place in the Teen Wolf series universe, but I don't know if it does anymore. I don't know if that's something that was like believed before but not true, because I know it's based on a book that is being adapted from, so I don't know if they're just taking that but adapting it into the Teen Wolf universe or what. I've seen a teaser for it. I don't think I've seen an official trailer, but basically it's a woman taking in these wolves who, you know, these kids who are, they're werewolves, and so I think things kind of spiral out from there. I think it's the gist of the story. And finally, on January 30th, on NBC, we have La Brea returning, which I'm very excited about. Obviously, where we left off, obviously finding out about Gavin's dad, and or no, specifically about his mom wanting to stop all these sinkholes from opening up, because that's a bigger and bigger issue that needs to be stopped once and for all, because if it keeps going, we're gonna have some space-time continuum kind of collapse and destruction type of stuff. Obviously it's about stopping that once and all for all, and it's also about trying to get back home. So most of the squad ended up going back. Everyone that was mostly everyone that was trapped in 88 went back to 10,000 BC. But I'm so excited to see where La Brea ultimately ends up taking us when we go back. When the series ultimately returns. And so that brings this month's watch list to an end. Like always, if there's something that's coming out that maybe I wasn't aware of, that you're aware of, that you think maybe me or someone else should be interested in, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments down below. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good